Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk episode 306, starting it off 2025 product pod. Here we go.
So it's a cordless phone charger. Uses a cordless phone charger pad, and it's retrofits into your existing ashtray. You use your old lid, so you don't have to repaint nothing. Retrofits uses your existing power for your cigarette lighter, so there's no rewiring.
Damn, son. Hey guys, let me tell you about LMC Truck. Keeping generations on the road. Think about that. It's pretty deep. So whether your truck was handed down or something you went out and bought, odds are you were handed a bunch of paperwork, maybe a folder. In that folder was probably the catalog. You know the one, the most up-to-date and detailed catalog available today. It's like an encyclopedia for our trucks. Their website is just as detailed and informative. lmctruck.com. lmctruck.com. So whether you're restoring old memories or creating new ones, LMC Truck is here to help. They're more than just a parts company. They truly understand the lifestyle and passion of owning a classic truck. So get out there and get to work on your truck and know that LMC is here to help. You can get online, lmctruck.com, and order your free catalog today. Keeping generations on the road. lmctruck.com.
Let me tell you what Melvin Post is packing right here. I've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some bucking muscle.
What does that do? Did that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 Truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man, he's a television repairman. Got the ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth flapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
All right. What up, C10 Nation? Happy New Year, January. I'm back. I have Brad Gortzma, and Brad's up in the Pacific Northwest. Saw his product come across the social media and was like, all right, that's something kind of cool. So I reached out to Brad. He said, hell yeah, let's talk about it. So you've got the phone charger that goes into the ashtray of the 73 to 91 if you're thinking Burbs or Blazers or crew cabs. So Brad, welcome to C10 Talk. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule and tell us about this rad product that you just recently debuted.
Yeah, so it's a cordless phone charger. Uses a cordless phone charger pad, and it's retrofits into your existing ashtray. You use your old lid, so you don't have to repaint nothing. Should take 2 hours to install. Kind of hard to say. I've installed a couple of them, so I'm a little better at it. I guess, but yeah. Retrofits uses your existing power for your cigarette lighter, so there's no rewiring. There's no heavy lifting. It's bolt in, comes with everything you'll need. If you have your stock cigarette lighter, you do need your stock cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
I couldn't source those, so.
Okay. So, yeah, they're not that hard. I think, getting the pull out is pretty easy. It's just sometimes the lip where it on the top, it kind of gets up in there and you're trying to get that out, but you've got power there. The one thing I don't ever recall a square body 73 to 91 not having power there. The earlier years, sometimes you could have a delete there where you didn't have any power. So people were saving that $2.80 on their cigarette delete or 12 volt power, really. So kind of crazy. What made you kind of think of this or come up with this?
It goes back a couple of years. I'm putting together a K5 Blazer, and no one smokes anymore. So it was just kind of a wasted space. And I was, everyone's got those, a cord hanging out of their dash to charge their phone. And I happened to buy a cordless charger for home. And it's like, I need this in my truck. This just I don't know. It seemed like an obvious thing.
Yeah. Did you what year's your Blazer?
It's an 80.
Okay, so you got an 80 round square headlight first year, and you did you debate on putting it in the console there, or were you like, hey, the ashtray is just not getting used and it's got power there already, so I'll just put it there.
The ashtrays seem like it would work better because they are in everything,
Yeah.
trucks and Suburbans. And it's funny you mentioned the console because that's one of the things I'm kind of looking into is remaking a console that has a charger in the top.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, obviously, when you think about a 14 to 18 GM, they had that in there. And I've got a few Blazers that I'm working on, one for SEMA this year coming up. And I'd like to see it in there where you could just kind of set it on there in a nice non-moving pad. I think the design of a console, it does lend to it in the middle, the way that you have those grooves and then you have your badge, which is super cool. It's just not a shelf or a tray the way that the new stuff is. And then what you've designed in the cigarette lighter ashtray area, it does seem kind of shelfy, so it really can't move around all that much.
Yeah, it's a rubber coated pad, so it's got some grip to it. They
Yeah,
don't appear to move around.
it's cool. So your name, so for the audience, Brad's IG name is, let's see here, Deluxe dot Design dot and dot Fab. So Deluxe Design and Fab with three dots in there. What else are you fabbing up, or did you come up with that after? Do you have a few different ideas, and you're just one of those guys that has a job, by day, and then at night you're playing around with your build and just kind of looking at it and coming up with different ideas?
Self-employed fabrication, kind of looking to get into products more than, working on vehicles all the time. It just gets costly and takes up room and takes up a lot of time. And I got a friend who told me years ago, he's like, you need a product. You need something that just constantly sells, something that, sells on Sunday night.
Yeah. Is
So
this, would you consider this your first product then?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Well, I think I saw you posted up. You've got plenty in stock. And we talked before we went on air. We're going to run a 10% off. I get nothing for this. I'm happy to help you, the listener, and happy to help Brad move these things along. So they retail for 229. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
229 and a few hours can be expected. You're going to blow away your ashtray there, kind of clean it all up. If you've got your stock paint, keep that, and then walk us through the process just a little bit there. Build our confidence on installing this.
It's really the hardest part is getting, if you have stock air conditioning, you've got to pull all that ductwork out of the back. So that's where you're going to spend most of your time. And then it's just a matter of unbolting your stock ashtray. There's four bolts holding that in. Pull it out through the glove box. Glove box will be gone. And then you have to drill out the two rivets that hold your lid on. And the lid will pop off your old assembly. And then you put together the new charger. You got to set the pad in the lid, route the wiring, and then stick your old lid on the ashtray, a couple access holes and some provided screws, screw it on there. I would leave it a little bit loose. It's not going to rattle and it allows you to adjust it after the fact. There's a little bracket on the side that holds your stock auxiliary port, your cigarette lighter. And then there's just a little, adapter that plugs into that to kick it down to 5 volts. You plug in the phone charger pad, and then you just back through the glove box and bolt it in and screw it in. And then hook your stock wire back up to your cigarette lighter. And if you got a good ground, grounds always seems to be the problem if you have an electrical problem. And then you're putting all your air conditioning ducts back in, and you're done.
Well, you bring up a great point about the ground. The cigarette lighter is ground by the metal. So what are you using for a ground? Do you have to run another ground, or are you trying to get back into that same metal when you're looking for that ground?
Yeah, grounding through the metal.
Okay.
It's it's a powder coated assembly, but the screws are a little tight, so it'll bite in and it'll ground there.
Okay, good, good. Now, one thing I looked at it and I haven't looked in deep or zoomed in for the audience. You've got your square body ashtray. You fold it down, you're going to flip it down, and then it sets really kind of flat. And what's behind it? Is there anything that's behind it visually, or is it kind of open to that ducting and wiring?
There's a there's a wall back there
Okay, so
to keep.
is it like 3D printed, like a wall that will kind of keep that all shielded from what's going on back there?
Yeah, it's not 3D printed. It's all 22 gauge steel,
Okay,
but it's part of the lid, so it moves with the lid. You can't shove your phone back too far; it won't fall out the back. It won't, and it does cover up all the ducting and all the ugliness behind the dash.
cool. Now, does that come black, or do we need to paint it a color of our choice, or does it come raw?
It comes powder coated, semi gloss black.
Okay, nice, nice.
Yeah.
How about a video, anything that next time you do an install, are you going to consider maybe I'd recommend throwing a video up on YouTube maybe, and then your social? Because again, it's not that it's hard, it's just that it builds people's confidence. And then when you do a video, you're like, hey, check out the video, you bought it. If you got any questions, hit me up, so on and so forth. And then, like you said, it's fairly self-explanatory, but you never know. You get people out there, and if you can do it as quick as you can, you're like, hey, throw this up, and then you're not going to have any problems. Here's the top three. If I said, hey, what's the top three? I know you're so new that you probably don't have anything, but what would you say is the top question you might get besides a ground issue?
Um, I was shooting for a nice fit on the lid, and it's old trucks with old technology, and everything is a little bit different. If you have problems getting the lid on, make sure that the little tabs where the screws will go through, and this will make some more sense if once you're there. If you pull those out a little bit, just to kind of help shoehorn things together. I realize it is a tight fit, but when you get it all together, it looks real good, being a nice tight fit.
Ultimately, we
Um,
want it, we want it tight, we want it clean, and we don't want it sloppy. So I like the leave it a little loose, then make your adjustments. And yeah, I look forward to maybe throwing one of these in orange slice. I've got my ashtray down, I plug it in, I can read my voltage, which I do like the one that I have, especially in an old truck, because it's got a digital readout that tells me what I'm running as I'm running, 12.6, whatever. It's almost like a little cheat. But having a nice clean tray there would also be something that's going to look good. And I could see you selling a lot of these. Are you pretty happy with what you've been able to sell so far?
um, it's been okay. I didn't know what to expect, so it's hard to. I went down to Dino's with, well, turns out some pretty lofty expectations, and but I did okay. I could always be better.
Yeah, I would say that I didn't know you were coming down and didn't see you. And then a lot of it's just the marketing. And the thing about Dino's now is that it's so big that you've got so much going on that you almost have to have that presence to be like, hey, I'm going to be down here and come see me. I'm going to run a show special. So not only am I going to run a show special, I don't know why I'm struggling with show special. Say that fast three times. But you're gonna save money on shipping because you don't have to pay that. Right now, you're running them, like you said, through eBay. We're gonna do the 10% off, so that's gonna be good for, I don't know, let's say, oh, I don't know, run that code for however long you want, but just run C10 Talk and you can decide. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll get this out ASAP. I was gonna couple you with two other guys that are making cool products. But back to the get down or any show, you got to let people know. And hey, I'm coming down. Pre-order, save on shipping. Pre-order so I know how many to bring, and then I'm enticing you to pre-order by letting you save X amount of money. So it is hard, that marketing perspective, and the show is so big. even for us who've been in business 10 years doing pod and selling gear, it's just so big and there's so many people, and you got to give them a reason to come see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I ran a show special. I still don't really have the social media following as far as pre-sales, and that's one of the things I was hoping to gain down there that I didn't quite hit the mark I was shooting for. But hey, it
Yeah.
was a great show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. And I think the more you do, the more we'll get out, and honestly, this will help you too. So I'll help post it up. We'll get the word out, get an install going, and yeah, I look forward to it. So you've got a few other things. You're working on an 80. Post some pictures on your social on that. We want to see we want to see that. Your blazer. What color is your blazer? And is it from the Pacific Northwest?
It's root beer brown and white. It was the kid I bought it from a dealership just a little bit north up here that was using it as a plow rig.
Oh, wow.
So it had the usual K5 rust in it. So
Okay.
I've done a lot of rust repair and put a 6 liter in it.
All right, with a 4L80.
Yep. Yep.
Cool, cool. And then an 80, are you running is it a 203 or a 208 transfer case?
It's a 208.
Okay. So you're
So,
full-time? Are you full-time?
no,
No. And then did you
no.
adapt? Did you run an advanced adapter or off-road design?
I built the adapter.
Oh, okay. Look at you. Of course you did. That's awesome. So do you have a background in fab and design?
Um, yeah. Right out of high school, I had some warehouse jobs, and then ultimately went back to working with my dad building generators. In 2005-ish, um, built a lot of generators, diesel generators for the oil field, and then that dried up, and at that point switched over to building street rods. So
Okay.
that's my background is street rods, and that's not dried up, but it got old and expensive. Where the C10 truck stuff, newer stuff, a little bit more readily available, better condition, easier to market to get into for the average guy, and I like them. So
Yeah, I mean, when you think about your generational design and your perspective of life, you're like, hey, I grew up wanting one of those, looking at that, some uncles and dads and cousins and brothers and grandpas had them. And so, yeah, they're definitely popular. They're not going anywhere. I like where your mind is. Hey, these ashtrays are very plentiful. A lot of guys building rad trucks. Have you thought about bumping up to, or I should say, bumping back for a 67 to 72 slide out that can work for that, and maybe even 60 to 66, and then even going into other brands of Fords and Dodges?
yeah, I've had a lot of inquiries about the earlier, 67 to 72. There's a couple of limitations on those. The opening is not as wide, so it'd have to pull out farther, which means you'd have to push in further, and then you're running into heat ducts and radio and firewall ultimately. Because I'm trying to keep it to where you don't have to modify the dash. That's the nice thing about the square bot, the 73 to 87. There's no cutting, there's no modifications needed.
Yeah, I think the key with that is they make the act tray, and the way he does that, I think the AccuAir controller, it is slightly smaller than a phone, like a 15 or something. Obviously, these phones get bigger and bigger, but I think with Travis, the way he does, I think I dubbed that the Act Tray because he was, making the AccuAir controller in there. But ultimately, I think he slides it out. So when you pull a 67 to 72 ashtray out, the way he does it, it slides down. So it pulls out and then ticks down a scotch, and then you can put it right there. So that might be something you work with him. And I can give you his contact and obviously his social media, but he got really good at making those, again, act trays where the AccuAir controller, he'd put it in there, he'd build a little dock for it, and then come out, slide out. And that 67 to 72, it does pull straight out, but he was pivoting it and kind of beveling it down, and then boom, that thing would sit right there. And I'm sure there's plenty of images and videos online that show that. And then with your ability to kind of think, oh, okay, I see what he's doing there, and then put a phone in there, that'd be kind of cool to have that little dock station. But I'll let you do you, and I'm sure our audience will be more than happy to pick those up if you do decide to enter into the 6772 and then even into the 60 to 66. And really at this point, any aftermarket automotive, because we know we have a phone, and we know that we
Yeah.
like, the Bluetooth is something, and we're hooking up to our radio, and so yeah, I think what you're doing is awesome. I think the 229, and then again, like you guys, for the audience out there, 10% off if you hit up Brad. I'll put this out right now. So I don't even know. We're like on the 16th or 17th. Let's run it to, I don't know. You run it how well? You want to run it 2 weeks, a week, 2 months? I don't care. You run it as long as you want. I'll put this out right now, my first kind of episode for 2025, just to get it out, so people are definitely like, hey, they know about it. And a lot of times I'll put out product pod with other products, and it ends up getting to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes long, and I'm not sure who's listening to each one. So by specifically putting out this phone charger ashtray design, then people will know right away to that it's just pretty much you. So what we need to do is we need to come up with a cool name for this thing.
I'm open. I'm looking
Yeah.
for names.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I don't know. So that it's called an ashtray. You could call it the eye tray because it's probably for an iPhone. But yeah, I'll let you work on it. My brain will obviously work on it, and our audience as well. So anything else, Brad? Anything else to add?
A couple other products. I got a phone or speaker pods for kick panels, 73 to 87, that are live. They're on eBay. I mean, eBay's my
Main
platform right now
source.
for
Okay.
selling them. Yeah. And then some window trim for around the windows of 73 to 87 square bodies. If you've kind of helped finish off, cover up that painted edge around your door.
Oh, I did see that. So I did see that. That's very cool. Okay, so for the audience, let's back up. So kick panels, you have a kick panel. Is that a 3D printed kick panel?
That's a thermal formed, vacuum formed ABS plastic.
Okay, and then so the early years, it's one piece, and I guess they're all one piece, but I think in 76 they changed and they put a ridge there. So do you have the ridge incorporated into your kick panels?
The so it's not the whole kick panel. The later, and I'm gonna call it the later. I don't know when they started this. The ones that had the little carpet down in the at the bottom corner. This replaces that carpet.
Okay, so that's going to be earlier, right? Because
Better.
later, older, or earlier. So 73 through 5 are pretty much one piece. Not as I really like the 76 and newer, where they have a really nice ridge. It's weird because it's all one piece, but it has a ridge in there. And then I would say that goes up till probably 78 or 9. But you're thinking, I almost think you might be thinking 80 to 87, or 81 to 87 if it has carpet in it.
Yeah, these would be on the one that had the carpet in the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So have you, well, okay, so you have kick panels, and what do those run?
And those are 89.99 free
Okay.
shipping.
And then eBay, what's your store? What's your name on the eBay store?
Uh, I believe it's Deluxe Design and Fab. There's a link on Instagram that will
Okay.
take you right to
To your eBay store. And then I did
yeah.
see so for the audience on the door trim, when he says that, it's interior, and think about where your door panel ends, right where you've got your forearm up there, and you're sitting there at your door. Well, that B post going around your A post where your wing window is, the top of the door, so the top half, it's metal and it's painted. Well, Brad makes a piece that you can paint and match your interior door panels, and it kind of trims that out. Another example to put it in perspective for an audio pod is where guys will paint the inside of their door to be different from the exterior. So think about, 73, 74, your bottom panel is I guess blue, and your panels might be a different color. Well, some guys will paint that top crown of the door, and you make a plastic piece that will go in there. How does that affix? Is it snap or is it screw?
It's double-sided tape. So
Okay.
there's no showing fasteners. It wraps around far enough that the molding, the weather stripping, will seal up next to it, and it wraps around the bottom and tucks underneath the door panel.
Yeah,
So
it's
it does
very
tuck
clean. I
underneath.
think I think you posted a tan one, and it does look
Yeah,
very good. So for you guys, I'll repost it and take it off of his social media as well as the kick panel. So you offer up the eye tray, the inner door piece, and the kick panel. So you can check them out on eBay. Uh, I guess apply the 10%, if you will, to everything, but for sure the phone chargers. And we'll see if we can't get some sold for you, and bring in an awareness to a rad product, and a guy who's just at home making cool shit, not somebody who's, this big company. You're putting your brain to, to hey, what can I do to make these better? And there's people out there that might want them. So kudos to you for doing that.
yeah, yeah. I'm hoping that works out in the long run.
Okay, awesome, Brad. I appreciate your time. If you've got anything to add, this is your time, and then we'll put it out to the world.
Nothing to add. Um, gonna look into giving some a free one to raffle off down at the Red Rock Retreat. I won't be able to attend that show myself, but I'll send a charger down there to raffle off. Looks like a good cause.
It is a good cause, good people behind it, and yeah, definitely dig that. So I'm going to tell the audience that we'll have one. I'll get one from you, and I'll put one in Big Sky, and I'll have Orange Slice and Big Sky at the reunion, so they can come by and check it out. And that's in 2 months from now. That's our show down here, the reunion truck show. So I'll get with Brad. I'll get one of these and get it installed, and then we'll have an actual phone charger in our truck, and we'll make sure you guys again can save 10%. So I appreciate you guys doing that for the audience. 229, you can get them on eBay, or the best way to do it is going to be able to DM you on your Instagram. And what about Facebook? So do you have a Facebook for Deluxe Design and Fab?
No,
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 okay, then that's fine.
yeah,
I always end up forgetting about Facebook, and then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, we got to make sure people know about that. So social media, so Instagram, deluxe.design.and.fab. So again, Deluxe Design and Fab. DM him. Make sure that you hit him up. If you run into a roadblock, hit me up, and we'll make sure that we get, you know how to get a hold of me, Ronnie at Truck Talk Media, Ronnie at trucktalkmedia.com. And I'll get it out to Brad and make sure that we get you what you need. Right now, if let's just say you got bombarded with 25 orders, what do you got in stock? You got 50 in stock, 100, 2 million. What, you got plenty?
yeah, yeah. I've got 50 here. I still have some down in Arizona that my parents will bring back
Oh, where
in a
are they
couple
at?
months. They're down in Mesa.
Oh, okay. I'm from Mesa, so that's kind of where I
Okay.
was. Yeah, so I'm right here, and honestly, if I had to, I could probably go get them, and hell, I'm gonna buy one from them, so I don't have to pay shipping. So
Yeah.
maybe we do that, and we help you sell them. So I'll get with Brad off the air on that. Great idea, since Mom and Dad are down here, and yeah, we'll come up with something. So let's get this going. Brad, again, Deluxe Design and Fab. Love the ideas. Keep the brain going. Love that you're behind the C10 Nation on this, and appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on.
You got it, buddy. There you go. 306, a little product pod. Obviously, I love bringing you guys this stuff. And for Brad, he's a small-time guy building rad stuff. Why not help him out? I told him, hey, if you come down the reunion, and if I haven't got mine in, which is probably likely, then we'll do a little video install. I think a video install is going to be huge. So you can check them out on social media, eBay, again, or you can buy it from us after next week. If you buy it next week, buy it from Brad so you get that 10% off. And maybe he'll extend it. I just said, hey, let's hook up the peeps. And we kind of talked off of the air a little bit about the website, this and that. And I said, hey, I'll buy some. We'll put them up and we'll work it out. So it sounds like his mom and dad are here in Mesa, which is just around the corner from me. And he's going to come down to the reunion. So check it out. All right, guys. Thanks, man. Thanks for listening. Late.